About a week ago, a little more, we saw a video pop up online from our friend Shia LaBeouf on his 33rd birthday.
Hey.
And he was wearing an adorable birthday cap, by the way, and was making an announcement about a very cool event happening in Southern California. So we thought we'd reach out to Shia, see if we can get him to come in on the show and talk about it, along with the co-founder of Slauson Rec. Here is Shia and Bobby Soto. Hey, you guys.
Hey now. Thank you for having us up here.
Welcome, always.
It's our pleasure. Hey, Bobby, how are you, man?
Hey, thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
It's always great to catch up with you, Shia, because you are never boring. You always have a lot of interesting things going on. And I would imagine with all the other stuff you do, the last thing I would expect you to do would be to co-found an organization like this Slauson Rec. What's it all about? What's the backstory?
So what it's about is we're trying to make theater vital again, right? We're trying to have kids line up for theater the way they do for cell phones or any other. You know, it's theater's kind of dead in this country and quite old and white and retired and not really speaking any current topics at all. And there used to be a time around the turn of the 20th century where theater was seen as like a very vital part of society. And
It was out in front.
Yeah, it was out in front,
yeah.
for sure. I mean, to the point where if you were a widow, let's say, you know, they built theaters around how vital it was. If you were a widow, it was very uncouth to go out in public for a year after your husband died. And so the theaters of the time used to build these things, these wings with these grills where widows could go and be a part of society and be able to view theater and be connected to the streets, essentially, without being viewed. So theater was always a way of bridging the gap during times of strife. So stepping back a little bit, just to give you some context, obviously, I've in my life, there's never been more strife in the streets since I've been alive, and theater has never been more deceased. Some backstory.
Let me interrupt one second
Yeah.
just to say something we've said on this show many times before, is that there is great theater being made, but it's few and far between. It's hard to find. Most people don't ever hear about it. And when people are thinking about, hey, what am I going to do this weekend? They're thinking about going to the movies. They're thinking about going to a concert. Thinking about going to a comedy show or something like that. Theater isn't even on the forefront of their brain anymore.
Right.
You're right. It's kind of a dying art outside of those big money shows on Broadway.
Right. And Wicked is not really speaking to a damn thing going on, really. I mean, you know, Hamilton is a rap musical about an old white guy. It's just, these things are quite ridiculous. So anyway, within the context of that, I'm making a movie called Tax Collector. Bobby is the star of that movie. He plays my boss. We're living in the same house for a few months, getting really close with each other, getting to know each other, befriending each other, falling in love. I'm driving him to work every day in this Impala. We're having these wild discussions, and part of the discussions are, hey, man, what were your dreams as a kid? What do you want to do in the future? What are we going to do when we get off this show? So we wound up clicking real hard, and Bobby told me about this dream he had to open this theater in South Central. And you want to start speaking on that?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in South Central, so around there's no arts program. So the hardest way of getting, I mean, the easiest way of getting into a place where there's any kind of theater, any kind of acting, or any kind of art, it's like you got to take a metro, 2 metros and 4 buses, and you got to walk a mile or something.
Right.
And if your parents are even willing to take you there too, you know, that's another factor with a lot of parents don't have the time nor the means to even get out there to do something different. So, in growing up as a teenager, I wanted to bring something back to my neighborhood, and you know, meeting Shia along the way of following my own dreams, we just talked about it, and then this was what happened.
Yeah.
A theater school is born.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more to it than that. We were filming in the Pueblos, which is a neighborhood you got to get a pass to walk around. We wound up getting this pass through this guy named Bo Sloan and another guy named Bo Jengles, both Pueblos Bloods. They run the neighborhood. We got very close with them, and through me and Bobby talking in the car and then bringing those conversations to set around lunchtime, these dudes were like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity. You should bring this down there. We don't have there's no playground for this kind of stuff where we are. We just have a football field, but there's no playground, like an existential playground. You know, there's no room for people who are in extraordinary poverty and backs against the wall to have any kind of philosophical thought or, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or hey, this is how I would exhibit it. And so in having these discussions, they introduced us to a woman named Nicole Griffin, who runs the Slauson Rec Center. She'd been giving us free rent for the last 10 months down there.
Wow.
What is the Sacred Spectacle, Shia?
Sacred Spectacle is a benefit concert so that we can get a van to transport people who ain't got no transportation to the rec center. We're trying to raise money to be able to bring it back to the neighborhood and invite more people into the rec center. have barbecues and whatnot, be able to fund the class going to these plays. They've never been to plays, so that stuff costs money. So we're trying to raise funds to be able to put on our first production, keep our project alive, bring people to plays, and get a van.
It's amazing, man.
Wow.
I mean, it really is so admirable. I mean, it's obviously for both of you guys, it's a passion project, but I mean, you have no idea how much this is going to change some people's lives who are going to be exposed to theater for the first time and will never forget it.
I'm praying for a movie poster that just says up top as the star, Bojangles.
Maybe it might be that way.
I really hope for that.
It might be that way.
Listen to the lineup of this sacred
how'd
spectacle.
you get this crazy lineup? I can't even believe it.
YG, one of my favorite rappers in the world. Jaden Smith, Vic Mensa, who I love. How to Dress Well was incredible. Baths, I love so much. But even more important, just David Blaine in the middle of the lineup. Like, this is an eclectic lineup of musicians. Are these just dudes and women you like?
Well, it's people that we like, but it's also people who are with the vision. It's people who I reached out to on an email, and some I really knew really well, some I didn't know at all. Reached out to them with the mission statement, the vision, and some footage from our class, and they've basically all showed up. This is altruism at its finest. It's really people coming off tour and donating their time for free to be able to give back to the community. And it started with Jaden came in, then YG came in because of the neighborhood, and then everything sort of flowed out of that.
Great.
So the event is on Saturday, June 29th.
Yes.
From 7 to 1. You can go to eventbrite.com to get your tickets.
Yes.
And like you say, the goal is to raise enough money to continue to fund this thing, right? Not just to expose it, but to kind of get it up off the ground. Like you said, get transportation, get some money to be able to work with to what? Put on more plays in the community?
I mean, the wild thing is we started this 10 months ago, and it's become the biggest devised theater program in the country. Devised theater is different in that it's not like Eugene O'Neill in a closet writing a play and then bringing it to the theater and people enacting his vision. It's the actual players writing their own material. So usually these kind of programs are done with 10 to 12 people. We've been doing it with 250 people. So it's an experiment, one, but it's also been quite successful. And we have like really solid 10 minutes to show that's taken us 10 minutes to get to. But yeah, you can get tickets at sacredspectacle.eventbrite.com. On the 29th, we're putting on this benefit concert, showing a little bit of our stuff. And it should be a good night for a good thing.
Are you teaching acting as well, Shia?
No, man, no way. I'm so happy.
Why are you laughing at that?
I think you have the most experience of anyone who's going to be down there.
I'm not a teacher at all. That's the beauty of this thing is there's no like hierarchy that way. There's no director, there's no writer, there's no actors. Everybody's considered a moment maker, and everybody's truth is as important as the next guy. So we really built like a team, and everything goes by vote. That's why it's taken us 10 months to build 10 minutes. Diplomacy and democracy takes a whole lot of time, and it's a very new thing for me, but it's a constant conversation. There is no leader or boss or anything like that. No.
I love the way you look at things, Shia.
Dude, I think Shia LaBeouf gets it. Like, that's what, I mean, it's like...
Sometimes.
All right. I think he does. I think he does.
Sometimes.
I want to be a moment maker. I've never been a moment maker.
You're invited, man.
All right. Give the web address again for people who want to go buy tickets or get more information.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it at, we're at slausonrec.com, on Twitter at Slauson Rec. You can get tickets at sacredspectacle.eventbrite.com.
Can people
right,
donate outside of that? Like, if they don't live in LA and they're listening to the podcast, they could donate through the website?
100%, yeah. We're also going to live stream the whole thing. There'll be a donation button on the live stream, but you can go to slausonrec.com, and there's a contribute button underneath the link.
That's beautiful.
Fantastic.
All right, Shia LaBeouf is here along with Bobby Soto. The event again is on June 29th. It seems like, Shia, in between your visits here, you're always involved in so many oddball things, and I feel like you don't plan any of this stuff. It just happens. Like you get an idea and just go for it.
Yeah, I lean into life. Yes, sir.
You don't have a life plan. You just wake up one day and say, oh, I know what I'm going to do, and then you just do it.
A lot of us have an idea, and then we judge it, and we go, no, that's stupid. And then we move on with our life. You just seem to say, I'm going to do it.
Well,
whatever's up next, I'm going.
Yeah, but not even like my ideas. Like, for instance, this thing came out of a collaboration with Bobby. Most of the stuff I do performance art-wise is a collaboration with other artists. I collaborate a lot. It's not like I'm just sitting in my room like Galileo dreaming up these things to do. Those times are gone. This is like I don't have a lot of friends. I'm a lonely guy, and my favorite way of making friends is through creating things.
But like when you sat in the movie theater and watched your own movies for 24 hours straight and live streamed it,
yes.
Where does something like that come from, and why do you go, I need to do that?
He collaborates with some of the best performance artists in the world.
Right.
And the thing is, I mean, I guess I address it now.
Yeah, get it.
Well, I just wanted to hear about the movie thing first.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the movie thing came out of. I mean, that actually was like the one you picked is like that was my one idea, which came out of like we'll have these chop up sessions where it's like what's a really ironic thing that you can do in a very sincere way, and so I'll sit there and I go, well, I could have a film festival for myself. We'll giggle about it and then we'll lean into it really hard. It winds up with like that guy's a dick, but then it turns into something else. Like a way towards sincerity is through irony. It's through cat videos that you get to some kind of like explanation of life or some kind of
I've
epic
never
reach for
gotten
space.
an explanation of life.
Then you're watching the wrong cat videos. Kevin.
No way.
'Cause I feel that way.
Well, there is a connective tissue. Like if you're able to say, hey, did you see that cat video? And the dude across from you who you don't know has also seen that cat video. That connection is that God reach that I'm talking about. This way of connecting with big, huge groups is this God thing I'm talking about, and it is through irony. You can't just hit people over the head with God, they won't listen to you. You can't hit people over the head with love, they won't listen to you. The way towards that stuff is through cat videos and
That's a word you really can't use anymore, Shia.
Sorry.
But I don't get the dick feeling when I'm watching the various art projects you've been involved in. I'm a guy who is putting something out there in the world for people to think about and discuss. That's what I get from you. I don't get that you're, hey, look at me or anything like that. It always seems to be toward a greater cause. At least that's been my feeling when I watch you.
Yeah, but
like the thing in New York where you were screaming about Donald Trump and stuff like that. I mean, it started a conversation. It wasn't just, hey, I'm Shia LaBeouf and I'm mad. It was, let's have a conversation about what all this means.
Yeah, I'm using my celebrity as cat videos. I'm using my celebrity as that connective tissue where we can actually have that discussion. That is what's going on. Yeah.
Okay, now this is where Jensen comes in.
Okay, now I address this because I'm not doing this because you're in the room, which I think is going to come into play a little. Before I entered this radio show, I was an idiot comedian who thought that the not famous thing was dumb. And so
Explain what the not famous thing is.
he opened a art exhibit on Beverly where he would wear a paper bag over his head. People could come in and say whatever they want about him, which was in response to a plagiarism. I guess people saying that you plagiarize something.
I definitely did plagiarize Daniel Klaus, yes.
And people came in, they were able to say whatever they wanted to him.
Right.
And so I thought it would be funny to rent the space next door.
Whoa.
And do the same exact.
Did you know?
Well, this all ends good. This all ends good. Wow. And so I decided to open the exact same art exhibit next door to him with the same exact things in it. But when you got to the end of it, instead of Shia LaBeouf, it was Jerry O'Connell, which I thought was very funny. And we taped it, and I rented the space next door.
Oh, I have a story, but keep going.
What I wanted to say to Shia, and I've never, in any of my comedy of making fun of anyone, which I've done too many times in my life, have I ever regretted one. And only in this case have I, because I have been turned around a complete 180 about your art. Because at that time I was like, this is BS. Dude's doing it for because I'm in art myself, and I thought this was a stupid thing. Everything since then I've been impressed by. I think everything you've done has been incredible and great. And as someone who made fun of it and dogged it so hard, I'm embarrassed by what I did. And so much so that I, today, am going to make a donation to Sacred Spectacle and everything in the name of my stupidity.
Hey, you touched me deeply, bro.
Is there an apology, Jensen?
I apologize greatly.
No, you don't need to. You touched me deeply, bro.
He's
Whoa.
felt this for a long time.
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
And I
He's
have
like,
felt
when Shia
very
comes to-
stupid. And
Trip.
so much so that every time another art exhibit pops up, I go, I was so dumb. Because even people I know who you work with now. Like I know that you have built this sort of body of work that's really impressive, and I don't think I saw the vision. And in time, obviously, you've had your bumps in the road and all those things. But the vision of your artistic ways and what you're doing here, all of it to me is much bigger than a stupid joke I made.
You touched me deeply. But also, let me apologize on air to Jerry O'Connell, who I mad dog like a street hard.
Okay, you can't say that either, Shia.
Can't say that.
Watch your
Sorry.
language.
Sorry.
So you tried to take it out on Jerry?
Yeah, I didn't take it out on him, but I saw him one time at a coffee shop and just kind of like, I like looked him in the left eye for like 45 seconds, like, I'm going to suck your soul out of your face. But so Jerry O'Connell, big love, bro. I didn't know.
I really have, it, in the best way, from someone who thought he was funny by being a hater or whatever I was, complete flip.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hey, this is as big a moment as that. Hey,
For
this
me
is-
as well.
Hey, thank
For
you.
me as well.
Hey,
It means
thank
a lot
you.
to me.
You guys
Hey,
should
thank
kiss.
you.
Oh,
shaking hands.
that's pretty good performance art if we
Hey,
do.
man.
But no, I appreciate what you're doing.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Hey, thank you
There you
very
go.
much. I appreciate you.
How much response do you get like Jensen's, which is what you're doing is crazy. I don't get it. I'm going to make fun of you. I
Yeah.
imagine you get a lot
It's
of that.
less
Yeah.
now. I would assume.
But that's specifically because it was the first time
Mm-hmm.
it hit. Because I was sleeping in that gallery,
Right.
right? So I would wake up and in my narcissistic scrolling of myself on the internet, I thought we were doing something cool, and then I saw Jerry O'Connell opened his thing up right next door, and I wanted to go across the hall and be like, my dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm fighting for my life right here. And so it hit me hard. I was in that
Wow.
room in a gallery. Just picture, I'm in a gallery by myself. The artists aren't even there. It's just me alone in a gallery with these paper bags and people playing music through the crack in the door of the floor because they would sleep outside with me. Yeah, I remember him showing up and people telling me that he was showing up and me being it hurt. I remember it hurt. And then I developed like a callus towards that kind of stuff later.
So you had to learn how to deal with it
yeah,
because it just eats you up if you
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
well, I apologize for making you feel that way.
No, hey man, this is bigger than that. This is way bigger than that.
And
This
now
is supposed
you can
to happen.
you can watch Stand By Me again.
Yeah.
Right? Excellent. We're all back.
Shia, you stay so busy with all the various things that you got your fingers in. How much of you is still interested in acting? Because most actors, that's all they're obsessed with is acting and fame. That's
Yeah.
all most actors care about. It
Yeah.
seems like acting is a small part of your life.
No, I see. They were throwing dirt on my back, yeah. So I wasn't allowed to be the actor that I wanted to be for quite a while because my behavior was so cockeyed. So I've been sort of surviving in independent film for a long time while I tried to transition out of like Michael Bay blockbuster into meaningful work that sort of touched my sensibilities. For the last 5 years, I've been able to maintain like an output of films that I really respect and wanted to work on. The movie that me and Bobby made being one of them, but. Yeah, I've been really blessed in that. I've been able to work with filmmakers that share sensibilities with me on projects that I really care about and roles that I really wanted to do. And I'm trying to keep that trajectory alive and maybe move back into bigger filmmaking with the same sensibilities, like revisiting it kind of thing. But yeah, I'm
So
still
that's great.
trudging. I'm still like a working actor. I still audition and things like
So
that.
you can still be satisfied. You still enjoy the work, and your best movies are still to come.
This is my craft, yeah. At my base level, at my core, I'm an actor, and that's really what I'm about. I'm a hired gun.
What a fun time every time Shia
Agreed.
comes by.
The best.
We
Hey,
really always enjoy you, man. You have such an interesting perspective. And Bobby, it's really nice to meet you. Hit one more time for people who want to come down and see you and see Jaden and see YG and David Blaine and all the rest the weekend after next.
sacredspectacle.eventbrite.com, slausonrec.com, @slausonrec on Twitter. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
JensenIsAdick.com.
No,
It just went
full
up.
circle,
It just went
guys.
up.
It's all okay
I have
now.
no control over
It's
it.
all okay.
That was beautiful, bro. Thank you for that.
Sounds like a great event. We'll definitely be checking it
Thank
out.
you, guys.
And you're going to be live streaming it too, which is the best. Shia,
Yes.
Bobby, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.